One of the suggestions I had for what I could do for my floss tubes was talk to you about some of my favourite needlework products. So today that's what I'm going to do. But first I want to show you the piece of embroidery that I am wearing today. You've probably already spotted it. It's this little cross-stitched pendant with a Y on it because my name is Yvette. It's a cross-stitch design which is worked on 32 count linen over one thread, so it's a little bit challenging, but I really enjoyed designing that and making it. So I've got a supplies pack which has got the pattern in it and the pendant supplies. I haven't put the fabric in it or the thread because you can use your own thread from your stash and your own fabric from your stash. The thread that I used was a beautiful Gumnut Yarns silk, and it's in a silvery grey colour. So it's got all the letters of the alphabet and a couple of designs, like just, well, you know, designs that go with that. So it means that if you wanted to work all 26 letters with the 2 extra designs, you could make it into a sampler as well. So it's got double purpose. You can find them on my website, I think, and if I haven't put them there, I will very soon. So today's thing that I'm going to show you are wash out fabric pencils. In my classes, this is a Sewline one, and it's got, I'll put that in front of the cupboard so you can see better, it's got a fine lead in it. It's a ceramic lead rather than being a graphite lead. In my classes, if we're going to have to trace a pattern onto the fabric, I always ask people to bring a wash out fabric pencil because they work so much better than fabric markers. I actually had to search to find one of these. I was really surprised when I found that I did have one. I don't use them anymore. So you may remember in FlossTube number 2 I talked to you about my Mount Melick embroidery, and the piece that I showed you, I said that I was scared to wash it because I didn't know if I washed it whether it would fall apart, and that's because I used one of these types of textures markers on it. They have chemicals in them. We don't know what those chemicals are going to do over time, and I used it on that Mount Melick piece probably 15 to 20 years ago. I don't know what effect it's had on the fabric in that time, and therefore I'm scared to wash it so that because it might fall apart. When you're using these types of pencils, it's a ceramic lead which goes onto the surface of the fabric. It does not interact with the fabric at all, and it washes off the fabric just fine at the end. There are other brands as well. This is a Charisma brand one that I have. Bowen also does one too, but this is the brand that I stock. Sewline brand. They can also come, this is just a single lead in it. You can get triple ones so that you can choose the colour lead that you use. I have just the grey leads in this usually, but when I use it for dressmaking as tailor's chalk, I change over to the white lead. You can also get green and pink, and in some of the brands I think you might be able to get yellow. So it means if you're tracing onto dark fabric, you can use one of the light colours such as the pink or the white, and if you're tracing onto a light coloured fabric, you can use the grey, and sometimes you could use the green if that's suited as well. I just generally tend to use the grey for tracing my designs. One of the things that I particularly like about it is that it gives a nice fine line because it's not a pencil that has to be sharpened. It is the same thickness the whole way through, that lead. It means that you'll always get a nice fine line. It won't get thicker, it won't get thinner, it's quite constant. If I was to use the marker on my fabric, it would generally bleed into the fabric, and depending on what fabric, some bleed worse than others. With this, you're only drawing on the surface and it won't get any wider, it won't bleed, and therefore it's so much more precise. They are reasonably priced. You can get replacement leads to go in them. You can also get replacement erasers to go in the end. So you can either rub it out if it's just a small patch, or you can wash it out at the end. I generally don't bother rubbing mine out. I just wash it out at the end, and I have no problems with that. You just wash it in cold water. You shouldn't probably iron it while it's on the fabric. However, I've done that and it's not been a problem, so you know, if you have to, it's okay. I just wouldn't do it too much. I think they're a great product and I highly recommend them. That's about all I have to say today. I didn't need to make this go any longer than it needed to, but I hope you're doing well with your sewing. I hope you're managing okay in your isolation. I hope you and the people around you are safe and well, and we will all get through this together. Thanks very much. Bye.